Right. I'm going to share my screen. Folks, as usual, give me a thumbs up if you can actually see the screen with my smiling face. Great. Thank you very much. So today in the 52-week MBA, we start moving into the marketing phase of the program. And today we're talking about why your stuff isn't selling and maybe how you can fix it. So for the new people who are in the room, this is me. I'm not going to go through all that, but 30 plus years as a C-suite executive across a dozen different industries. Used to lecture in business at university, was a high school teacher, and I've been running my own coaching consultancy for the last 12 years, and I've helped over 180 business owners get to where they want to get to. A lot of fun. Again, as usual, no BS, no rainbows, no unicorns. The stuff I'll be talking about is stuff that you can actually take away from this meeting and start using. Also, for the sake of this presentation, the word service and the word product are interchangeable. If I talk about you having a product or I talk about you providing a service, consider them the same, because really a service is a product and a product is a service. End of the day, what we're selling should be pain relief or something that improves people's lives. So first quarter of the year's gone. We're hitting the middle of month 4. How's your revenue doing? If your revenue's down, that means your profits are probably down. And most people knee-jerk and they go, it's a sales problem. In fact, it mightn't even, they might go, it's a conversion problem. I think that I'm not changing enough people across. And worst of all, people tend to think it's a leads problem. And really, it's not that. The issue is you have a perception problem. Usually poor revenue is a direct byproduct of the perception of your product or service not landing the right way in the marketplace. If your offer or your service isn't converting, normally it's not because it's not good enough. It's probably because it's not different enough, or it doesn't offer relief from a big enough pain, or it's not urgent enough, or it's not unique enough. Many of you on this call have heard me talk about, and earlier in this series for the 52-week MBA, I spoke about USPs and points of difference. A unique selling proposition is the best marketing tool that you can possibly have to help drive sales and to make sure the perception of your product is right. The problem we have in small business is that many of us, by default, end up acting like a commodity. And that means we are competing on price. Now, if you're in an industry and what you're offering is seen as being the same as everyone else in your industry or in your niche, then you're a commodity. And really, pretty much the only way you can compete if you're a commodity is on price. And as we know, if you're a commodity and you're competing on price, then it's nothing more than a race to the bottom. You will reach a point where you can't possibly provide your product or service and stay in business. So you don't want to get lost in the crowd. If your sales aren't happening, if your revenue's down and you've got a good product or service, then you're probably lost in the crowd. But the thing is, you don't have to be. Anyone can sell products, services, masterminds, and all that sort of stuff. But really what you want to do is to try and differentiate. Right? Unless you can differentiate, you won't be able to sell and increase your revenue and your profits. The easiest way to do that is to try and rethink what you're doing and become a category of one. So how do you do that? Well, you can invent your category, right? You should define your category by the problem that you solve, the solution you provide. You can define your category by the future. What is the transformation or the benefit people are going to get? How are you different from what other people do, right? And then you can establish your category by telling the story about it, by advertising the campaign of it, and then you can own it by out there. The key thing is, if you have a category of one, you can stand out in a good way. If you're not working off standing out as a category of one and you're just competing as a commodity and price, then what happens is you tend to be a bit sleazy. And if you're going to go out there and start trying to increase your revenue through marketing, then be honest in what you do. You should have all by now got a copy of Robert Cialdini's book on persuasion. They're talking there. But if you say you've only got a limited quantity available, then be honest about it. One of my pet peeves is internet marketers who are selling a PDF or a book and saying there's only 6 left when they're an inexhaustible replies. You can add urgency to things by saying it has to end by midnight tonight. You can say BS like the boss will kill me if he finds out on that. That's one of the things doing the rounds at the moment. Some of the American guys are out there saying, if the boss hears about this, he's going to kill me. Yeah. All right. Here's the secret that they don't want you to know. You know, the mysterious they, that's quite sleazy as well. All those things really are pretty much things that amateurs do, and that's why they don't scale. What you should be talking about is benefits to your customer, the pain relief they'll get, the transformation they'll undergo, and hopefully the value exceeds the price by 10x. People don't think, they buy. People have two budgets. They've got a finance budget and they've got an emotional budget. And the emotional budget is much larger than the financial budget. And if you engage the emotional budget, they'll find a way to buy your product, provided you're getting the right message out there. If you become a category of one and you convince people that you can remove their pain or improve their life, you could stop chasing clients. They'll start chasing you. So for all this to work, your product or service needs to deliver on its promise. You need to know the difference between features and benefits, and you'll all get sick and tired over this year hearing me talk about them. A feature is Diet Coke's low calorie. A benefit is you'll look better than the bitch from accounting at the end of the year party if you drink it. Okay. One talks to the emotions, one talks to the logical part. Which one sells things more? Probably the second one, even though the BH comments are a bit over the top. Your product should verse an offer, right? Really, you want to craft a better offer, stop selling your product, which tends to be where people start talking about the features of it, and start selling your offer and the result that people get. Your offer should be about the result, the outcome, the transformation that people get from working with you. There should be talking about a clear solution to the issues they're facing, all right? If you speak to their result, you go from a sore back to a strong back with 3 weeks of my U-Butte Fix Your Back program, that's great. But you know what doesn't work? You give people too many options. I see people doing that. In fact, there's a great thing I don't know if anyone's on the mailing list for Officeworks, but Officeworks sent me an email yesterday that said, you know, new products. And I opened it up and there's 12 pages of new products. That's fine. 6 of them are the same chair in different colors. So there's 6 pages. That's about 200 variations of the one office chair in different colors and configurations. Am I going to buy an office chair when I get that? No, I'm just going to glaze over. You have to be very smart with the way you present the features. The features have to back up the benefits, right? So yeah, by all means, if you do something in different colors, do different colors, but don't offer 40 different colors. Try and offer 3 or 6, right? Same thing with sizes. Yet offer the right sizes to people, all right? Talk about the pain reduced, the transformation done. But if people get hit with a plethora of options, they will go somewhere else. They will not buy. And of course, the other thing is, if you're providing options, make sure you provide the right ones. If you're talking to an audience of vegans, offering leather belts and sandals is probably not a good idea. If you're talking to people that love driving V8 cars, then talking about the latest electric car mightn't happen. If you're talking to people that are track athletes and you're trying to sell them vapes, again, it probably won't happen. You must make sure that the options in your product match to your clients. So in other words, what you want to be doing is adding value, not just stuff. And some of the easiest things to add, which have high perceived value, is like adding speed. How can they get the result they want quicker by working with you? Add certainty. How will they know it'll work? Well, that's where your social proof comes in. I've helped 200 people. You heard me talk before. I've helped over 180 businesses and business owners in the last 12 years achieve what they've wanted to achieve. So there's some certainty. Add exclusivity. Can they get your product or your color or your thing anywhere else? No, great. It's exclusive. That gives more attraction to it. Add scarcity. Can everyone get in? No, maybe you start a wait list. Maybe you say you're only taking 30 people a month or 7 new clients, whatever it is. Add genuine scarcity. And of course, adding risk reversal. Do you stand behind your product with a money back guarantee? Or do you say that, you know, if you're working with me and you don't get results in 30 days, I'll work with you for free until you, whatever it is. But add value to things if you can. And of course, this is the biggest And best way to risk reverse is to offer a satisfaction 100% money back guarantee. But instead of that, you can also offer lifetime access to the system or the product. You can maybe throw in some bi-weekly live Q&A calls for the first 90 days, a private accountability group, implementation sprint, whatever it is. An offer is something that adds 10 times the value of the cost of your product or service to things. The idea is to stack the value so high that price becomes virtually irrelevant. If you can do that, you're not going to be a commodity anymore. You're going to be a category of one, and you're going to do that. So that's a lot in a very short period of time. If you want to make sense about it, if you'd like a hand, well, quite simply, let's have a chat. Those of you who've done it already know you get 30 to 45 minutes with me for free. I don't try and sell you anything. I just try and help you sort out your product, your business, or your offer. Are there any questions?
Yeah, so anybody got any questions, please unmute. Just put your hand up so we know who. Well, Geaff, have you got some questions for people in the room? Let's do it the other way.
Well, I was just going to say, who here is willing to put their hand up and say they operate as a category of one? Tell you what, Narelle's pretty close to a category of one.
Yeah.
There are people around doing what we do. We're unique in that it's people with disability doing it, where mostly it's not. Mostly it's, oh, no, I shouldn't say that. It's people with autism, but we're unique and it's people with severe vision impairments who also happen to be techos doing it. Mostly it's people, say, with autism. Yeah, they've gone and done a lot of work, and there's some really good operators around, but they're mainly big business.
That's what you've done, though. You've created a category. So the niche is accessibility problems, if you like, for people with some form of disability, and you've narrowed that down to people with vision disability, and then
we do everything. Yeah, we just say our niche is the fact that
That's another point that's really important. Is you could do a whole heap of things, but you want to be talking about something that makes you stand out. Like for me, I've got 47 different products and services I can offer. I'll only ever talk about 2 or 3 at a time. But if someone in corporate happens to say, oh, I'm having trouble getting people on board with this new program, I can go, well, great, I've got a change management program called SC Squared, which I can run for you, which will get them on board in a day. But you won't see that on any advertising from me. So what you've done, and this is for everyone on the call, whilst you might provide a broad palette of services or products, the key thing is to try and find the one that helps you stand out in a crowded marketplace. And please understand, being in a crowded marketplace is a good thing, because that means there's a lot of demand and it's not being met properly. So you're increasing your chances of meeting that demand and doing well if you actually stand out from the rest of the crowd.
So you can be in a similar field to other people in the same field, but your point of difference makes you a category of one.
Yep.
Got it.
And that's the difference. So I think that's something that we all need to look at, what makes each of us individually different to everybody else.
Can I add something?
Sure.
So currently, if you look at LinkedIn, a lot of people are talking about psychosocial. And this is why Nicole and I have been sitting and saying, we know what we're offering them because we do application. So it's really interesting, Geaff, that you've just brought this up, because this is what we've been looking at and saying, how do we differ from all those offers that are out there? Because we understand exactly what the clientele needs and how do we get that across. So thank you.
Well, the easy way for you guys is to say that when you're talking about psychosocial, everyone's talking about theory. We understand the theory, but we'll show you how to implement it. So your difference is hands-on experience and implementation, not just education about the theory.
Okay.
And so it's part of the collaboration you have with somebody else. When you collaborate, you're both bringing something different to the table that creates something greater than the two halves separate.
Yeah.
And so there's another point of difference in there, and that makes you stand out against other people as well.
Thank you. That's helpful. So Nicole, we got something to think about. Thank you.
I can see the cogs
Yeah.
turning already.
I know. Tick, 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 tick. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Anybody else? You got any other questions, Geaff?
No, I think that was the main one. But I suppose just a general question. Those of you who've been here for the few weeks, are you enjoying the 52 weeks MBA? Is it adding value to you, or do I need to change the things? Oh, Dr. Chris has got his hands up.
Just remember, the rest, some of you like the chair, you're muted as well if you're talking. But go ahead, Geaff, Chris.
Yes, sorry to interrupt the process, but no, it just occurred to me because I'm sort of restructuring what I offer, and I've got three offers, different levels of cost and engagement, and I'm just wondering, like, is that too many? Is three different options too many to offer up front?
Three's the magic number, right? Threes work best, right? The magic numbers are 3, 6, 7, 9, and 12. They're the numbers that people respond to best.
Yep.
3 and 6 in particular. If you've got say an umbrella offer and you've got 3 different ways of delivering it, that's fine. But what you sell is the umbrella offer, and then you offer the particular option that suits the person you're talking to best.
Right,
That's fine. So that's why you see so many places do gold, silver, bronze. Right. And you'll notice that the order I did them in, because if you're smart, you use price anchoring. So you sell your highest product first, your middle one second, and your low price one last. Because the first price people see for a product or service is the price they think it's worth. Most people go bronze, silver, gold, and they wonder why they're selling a lot of $99 courses and none of the $600 courses. And you just have to flip it around. So
that's interesting. That yeah.
So if you've got 3 options, that's fine. What you don't want to have is 33 options.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to do what Officeworks did and have 200 variations of the same bloody bit of furniture. I mean, that's just someone should be shot.
Thanks, Geaff. That's great. Thank you.
There's a lot of value in what you just said then, Geaff, with the putting your most expensive first and then going down to the cheaper one. Most people, as you said, do it the other way around, and you end up selling the first lot. But if you start at the dearest and then you show, what the other ones, in my case, I've got my master courses, then next after that might be my 3-step. Well, that 3-step is included in the master course. And if that master course is too expensive, then at least we can look at that one. Okay, you can get that. Once you get that, you're making money, then you can step into the back up to the master course. So they connect them in that way as well.
The usual way of creating a product, like in gold, silver, bronze, is gold's got everything, silver's got 70%, and bronze has got 30%, right? And that's so they can stack up quite nicely. But the price anchoring thing can't be underestimated. And I've been doing it with my clients for over 12 years. I first started doing it years ago when I was with Vodafone, way back in the days when it was a good company. And we started doing that. I mean, remember the Vodafone plans, 33, 66, 55? I created those because they worked really, really well because people anchored on a price. But if you start with your cheapest price first, you'll sell more of your cheap stuff. But the stats show by moving your highest price first, you can increase your sales of your top product by up to 50-something%, and your lower price sales drop off. So who cares? Sorry, Connie.
What happens if the first price, if that's the high one, scares them away, and they want to go further down to see for the lower price?
It depends on how well you're presenting that. Obviously, the best way to present this is in the form of a graphic. And we see that all the time where you go to the pricing page and they go, there's 3 prices. And they go gold with everything you've got, silver with everything it gets, and bronze. So people can do a direct comparison and they can go, well, it's worth this. I can't afford this, but I like the silver. I can afford that. Or I'll just go for the bronze and give it a suck and see.
Okay.
But if you just boldly go out, I mean, don't get me wrong, high ticket sales still work. But if you just go out there and go, it's 10 grand. I mean, part of the issue, for instance, like working with me, for most of my clients who are, relatively well-off business owners, my mates' rates are roughly $3 grand a month. Most people I charge $5 grand a month. So that's a $60,000 a year thing. So I have to make those people back at least 10 times that before it's worthwhile. So but if all I said to people was, look, it's $3 grand a month, they go, I can't afford that. Instead of thinking about, well, if I pay him $3 grand a month, I'm likely to get a 300 grand uplift in profit or whatever. It makes more sense. But just a single price, unless that's where you're aiming at and you've got a lot of information to back it up and you've done a really good emotional catching sales pitched beforehand, then it's difficult. But if you've got 3 prices, then you do a little chart, gold, silver, bronze. Here's what's in each one. And then people will do the comparison themselves.
Okay.
You never want to shut the door if you can avoid it.
All right. Thanks.
Narelle?
Narelle.
I actually,
You're muted.
You just muted
Narelle.
yourself.
I'm
There we go.
actually finding this really valuable, Geaff, and I just wanted to say thanks, because what I've been doing is, as you're saying stuff, I'm checking stuff. And that's why you're seeing me pop in and out thinking, okay, Geaff says to look for this. Okay, what am I doing here? So I've actually been doing it along with you. So thank you.
Oh, pleasure. That's what these sessions are for, is to help people.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll just stop that recording now. Yep. Right, yeah. Oop, that didn't stop, did it? Stop. There we go.